Hello my dear students and welcome to English Honeydew classes, and in this session I'll be teaching you Unit 2 Geography lessons. This is a poem and this is the last part, that is sixth part of this unit. In this unit we are going to learn figures of speech of this poem. A figure of speech is a phrase, okay? It is a phrase or word that expresses the ordinary course of ideas in order to produce a greater effect. So children, you all know that poem is an imagination, and this imagination looks beautiful when we use different effects, and these effects we call it as figures of speech. And in this poem, we will be coming across three main figures of speech, that is alliteration, repetition and imagery. Now let's learn these three in detail. First one, alliteration. The occurrence of the same consonant letter, okay? It is a consonant letter or sound at the beginning of words appearing close to each other is known as alliteration. So that means alliteration is about the consonant sound. You know, in English we have got 26 alphabets. We have got how many vowels? 5. A, E, I, O, U. So 26 minus 5, 21. So we have 21 consonants and 5 vowels. That makes it 26 alphabets of English. So in alliteration, when you have the consonant sound being repeated, then we call it as alliteration, okay? Consonant sound. For example, where the wild men watched and waited. So W sound is repeated here. So this is alliteration. Then next is repetition, okay? As the word suggests, the words which are repeated. The word or a group of words, okay? It is not necessary it should be word, it can be a group of words or a complete line is repeated. It is used to create rhythm and bring attention to an idea, okay? When we speak about the same thing again and again, that means we want to bring the person's attention towards what we are saying. The words or phrases are repeated. Why it is repeated? To emphasize its significance in the entire poem. For example, the art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So your children, you can see that these two lines are repeated. So this is repetition. Coming up next, and the last one, is imagery. As the word suggests, imagination. So this figure of speech tells about the imagination of the poem. Imagery is a name given to the elements in a poem that spark of sense. Okay, spark of sense. अचानक से वो line read करते हैं and हमारे सामने पूरा picture आ जाता है. We can imagine it. It represents objects, actions and ideas in such a way that it appeals to our physical senses. Imagery gives a mental image. Okay, so when you have an image, immediately it comes to your mind, so that is imagery. Walls symbolize borders and cities symbolize countries. Okay, so ekdam tumhare dimag mein bhi that imagination comes. These lines I have taken it from the poem itself. So let's begin with stanza 1. When the jet sprang into the sky, you can see here t sound is being repeated. Okay, so this consonant t is repeated, so this is alliteration. Children, you can see in this stanza we have all alliterations. It was clear why the city sound is being repeated, W and W, so alliteration, had developed the way it had. Her sound, H and H, alliteration, seeing its scale 6 inches to the mile. Sir, SS sound is repeated, so this is alliteration. Now this is a continuation of first stanza. There seemed an inevitability. So this is imagery about what on ground had looked haphazard. Okay, from the top the view of down, that is the aerial view. So, this is again imagery. Unplanned and without style, again imagery. When the jet sprang into the sky. You remember in the first stanza the line started with this, and this stanza is ending with the same line. So, this is repetition, group of words being repeated. So, this is repetition. Stanza 2, when the jet reached 10,000 feet, alliteration, turtle sound. It was clear why the country, now word, W sound is being repeated, alliteration, had cities where the rivers ran. R and R sound is being repeated, alliteration, and why the valleys were populated. Were, again it is repeated. So, this is alliteration. Children, if you see in this poem, you have all easy figures of speech, and those figures of speech are repeated again and again. So, it is easy for you to memorize. Now, continuation of the same stanza, the logic of geography, imagery, that land and water attracted man. Again, imagery was clearly delineated, imagery, when the jet reached 10,000 feet. Now, turtle sound is being repeated. So, this is repetition. And alliteration too, because turtle is repeated. So, that is alliteration. And you remember this stanza, the line started with this, when the jet reached 10,000 feet. So, that is the reason it is repetition also. Stanza 3, when the jet rose 6 miles high, imagery, it was clear the earth was round. Imagery, you can imagine, and that it had more sea than land. Imagery again, but it was difficult to understand. Imagery. Continuation, that the men on the earth found. So, turtle sound is repeated, alliteration, causes to hate each other to build. Turtle sound again repeated, alliteration, walls across cities and to kill. This is imagery. From that height it was not clear why. So, that is imagery. So, that is the end of the figures of speech of this poem. So, in this session the homework will be write the definition of figures of speech. You do not have to memorize, but it will definitely help you in understanding the figures of speech in a better way. Write the poem again along with figures of speech. As such, this poem is there to memorize. So, thank you children. May God bless you and take care. Bye.